So there we go. There we go. There we go. It's the 21st of September, 10:10. I know I was supposed to be on here a little bit earlier. Eh, I got busy doing cleaning. I don't know. I started cleaning and then Steve was making breakfast and then other things started to go. So here I am. Please push the notification button. So if you are on YouTube and stuff, there's a notification button. There's a notification button. Also, when you are on Instagram, and same with Facebook if you are following me. So, um, and yeah, push the notification button, thumbs up, and subscribe. There we go. I'm trying to go through all of them. Push all these push all the buttons. There's a book that was by Munch. I don't know, Robert Munch. My kids, I loved the books, let alone I think with my kids, but there's a little one, it was called Buttons, Buttons, Buttons. And she loved to push the buttons, her and her bunny. And as she was pushing her buttons, 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 she was she ended up, goes through all the things that she got in trouble for pushing the buttons. And then finally, when she was pushing the buttons, she ended up being a pilot with all the buttons with her and her bunny. And she always kept her stuffed bunny with her. So I thought that, anyways, push all the buttons, as I'm telling you about Robert Munch. Okay, let's get into some of the energies today. We have a giant kite in the sky. So when you look at um, if you look at today's chart, it looks like you could see an actual kite in the sky, and the kite's being formed with the moon. And as this kite is forming, and we have an opposition with that, an opposition with Chiron. And it doesn't show Chiron on this one, but an opposition with Chiron. So we have an opposition with Chiron and Mars. And we also have Venus trining. Venus is trining, some beautiful energy here, trying to get us some, really come into our heart and our substance. But that's that Venus or that Mars in Libra that can really get us hung up on our ego and get us stuck in, oh, woe is me, right? And that's the whole thing. I wish I could stay and listen, but I'll catch the replay. You have a great day, okay? You have a great day, Shelley. All right. So we have this beautiful energy that's here with us all. But that Chiron energy can really be a Debbie Downer. God bless my friends who are named Debbie. No offense to any Debbies out there, but maybe that wasn't a politically correct thing to say. Well, unlike everything else, nothing that I say is politically correct. So sorry if I offended you. Not. It's that energy of being caught up and getting caught up, and the ego getting overwhelmed, and you're wanting it to go a certain way. But there's a lot of energy that's coming in that's saying, what were you working on before Venus went retrograde? What was that energy like at the beginning of the summer, or even before the summer? It's as the springtime. What was that you were starting to look at? For me, things started to really change on the summer solstice. The summer solstice brought in for me a dynamic change of wanting to do things differently, wanting to create new products, new ideas, and really sort of stream into something that I hadn't done before. So this energy that's coming in now is saying, it's still there. Just don't get hung up on what other people are saying or get hung up on what other people are doing. And it's almost where, especially with what is being played out in our world, like so much is trying to suck us in or try to get us to avoid. It's like, the thing that's happening in England right now, and the whole escapades that are going on there, where they're passing a bill, and this bill has to do with restrictions of speech, and it has been written up and everything, and now it has to go to the high the high the high court, or the high, anyways, the king has to pass it. So in order for it to become a law, the king has to pass it, so it has to go to the king. So that's where the end, where it's at. So the king is going to be looking over this proposal and everything else, and then it's signed off on. And where it talks about all of the different social medias, the different types of platforms that are out there. And we have very similar here in Canada as well. That's going to be really clamping down on us in the next few months on how much you can say on social media, where they will deplatform you, where they will, say, you can't say that, you can't say that, don't go there. You're not following the narrative. So I know for myself, and I've been trying to be so good, but yesterday on Facebook, I kind of wrote a few things that probably, I don't have the followers I used to have, so maybe not offended as many people as I usually do, but just voicing out concerns. And the thing, when you sit back and you look at everything, we're bound for some reason, bound to repeat. We're bound to repeat, whether it's a form of Alzheimer's that hits the human race, that we just don't remember or we don't see. And it's usually comes in about the third generation after the shit has hit the fan and things have gone wonky and stuff like that. And this is where we are seeing things being repeated within our world. And especially with Pluto in Capricorn, and seeing where Pluto is, and bringing up that energy of 1776. The other thing, as that was all going on, the last woman executed for being a witch, I think it was in Sweden, was in 1780 something. As this new revolution and energy was coming in to create a change, there was a single mom, and just a brief details that she was involved with a very affluent gentleman of the time, but he thought that she could destroy him somehow. So of course he had to taint her even more. And even though what she was saying was truth, even though what she was saying, she was coming out with what needed to be said, she was killed. She was her head was chopped off. And the people that were watching, probably all, many people in that audience probably knew that what she was saying was true, but at that time was too fearful of standing up to say anything for having the same thing happen to them. And that's it's repeating itself. We're seeing it again. When we are trying to create something and stand up for something, and we are being watched, and the new inquisition, and this is all, um I think it was when, with Neptune entering where it was, and I think it was at about 15 degrees in Pisces. That was when the witch hunts were starting to happen and things like that, a lot to do with the witch hunts. And the new inquisitions, or the new tribunal that goes around to try people, is the media, right? It's the media. It's amazing how when you sort of sit back and you start to watch, you're like, oh, okay. They're the ones that are the judges, the jury. That's where things are being tried. Whether or not, the court is another aspect, definitely, but there is this part, even once you've gone through this inquisition, once you go through this, you're still tainted, right? There we go. Sorry, I got a phone call, and it interrupted everything. Sorry about that. This energy that's coming in, with this all happening before our eyes, it'll come to a point when it will all dismantle. It won't happen in our time, but we will have it where it will dismantle in some way, some format, and a rewriting will happen once again. And this is where, they'll wonder, well, why did so many people have to die? Why didn't anybody listen? Why didn't anybody stand up? Why weren't they doing all of this? Same questions that they asked before during World War II afterwards. It's just like, well, it's just following orders. That's what I was told to do. It was the law at the time, so I had to follow the law. That's what they said I had to do. They said, oh, she was a witch, so we just had to kill her. They had a thing, to find out if you're a witch or not, is that they'd take your right hand and they'd fasten it to your left ankle. I'm trying to think of myself just trying to take my left hand and get down to my right hand down to my left ankle. Anyways, they'd fasten it and then they would throw you in the river, throw you in the water. And if you float it to the top, well, you were guilty and they'd take you out and burn you at the stake. If you didn't float to the top and you drowned, well, then you were innocent. So damn if you do and damned if you don't. And it's not that that's what they do nowadays, but it's done in a different manner. And you could see this being outplayed. Now, going back to the astrology and how it is, we can get caught up in all of this. Like we can get caught up, and yes, there are, I don't want to get too political, but yeah, taking a stand and being vocal. But there's also other ways of taking a stand and being vocal. Many other ways, by continually being your unique self, allowing yourself, not getting into the ego. And so many people I saw, wanting to, I don't know, be trendy or be a part of it, use what, whether it's using the pronouns or whatever else it is being up and being that unique person you are, and continually to be that person. When more of us are doing that, it's harder for them to make those changes, or it awakens others to say, hey, I want to stand in my truth. I want to stand in my uniqueness of who I am and not fall to the trend of the time. I don't want to fall to that trend. And when you start looking at it and you start saying, oh, okay, there's something crazy going on here. When the government says we got everything under control, don't worry, run the other way. Just saying. When the government comes in and says, you know what, don't worry about it, we'll make sure you're going to be okay. That's when you see a pile of bodies on the other side. This is where we are coming into a huge transitional energetic energy, that there is a point where people break. And we've already saw one point where people are starting to break. We saw that point. We started to see where people are starting to break, and of course that's with the children. You know, we start to see that, and people are standing up. And we're going to be seeing other parts that are going to get people to break, and people are going to say, no, we're not going to put up with that. And the next will be when you are unable to get the food that you want, when you're unable to feed the people that you need to feed. And that's going to be a huge breaking point in the world around us. We are seeing where things are going to be changing in that area drastically. And that's why, you know, back in 2019 and was telling people to stock up and make sure, your currency is going to be your food. And we're seeing it being played out. I mean, it's like, it's where everything is being taxed and taxed and taxed, and you're just like, isn't that what the king did? He taxed everybody to a point where nobody had any more money. Nobody had anything to give anymore. And that's when the people stand up, and that's when the people get rebellious. Pluto in Aquarius is rebellion. We are not staying where you are telling us to stay. We are going to stand up in a different place. We are going to be our unique individualistic person that we are. you know it's when you start, that's where people start to really start paying more and more attention. And I mean, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. So there's a whole lesson that we're going to be learning in that one. We're gone through a whole lesson for the last 15 years with Pluto and Capricorn, and seeing what that means, from 2008. What did that mean? How does that look? What is the structure that was created out of that? And what is the structure that we see that's dismantling from that? And this is for us to really take a grasp of it, take a really deep look at everything that's going on within our own life, and how we need to start to do that awakening. This is where with that kite in the sky, it's like, how are you going to fly? And it's in fire and air. So how are you going to allow yourself to ascend to those heights, to go fly a kite? How are you, allowing that? Because the most difficult part is getting the kite off the ground, making sure there is enough air, making sure there is, and learning to stabilize it once it gets up there. Learning, if you've ever flown a kite and then sort of a downwind comes in, and learning how to really adjust to it as it's happening, right? This is where we need to really learn how to maneuver and allow ourselves to fly with our passion, with our minds, and allow ourselves step into where we need to ground that all within the earth around us, and be ever present in all that we say and all that we be and all that we do. And know that there's going to be many that will not agree with what you do or what you say. Many will not like the way you do your hair, or the way that you say things. And we need to really adore our uniqueness. We really need to grasp into our uniqueness and into that beautiful flame that is within us, and allow it to ignite and go forward. So let's pull some cards. So a couple things. We have 7 more mini readings left for the year. So with the mini moon readings are new moon and full moon. So what I do is that I send you a recording, like I tape it, well, it's a recording, Mary, duh. So I do a video for you, and I tell you about the energies that are coming in within the next 2 weeks and stuff. And then I pull some cards and do a reading and stuff like that, do a reading for you. So there's 7 more of those left between now and the end of the year. So that's $245. Plus, I'm throwing in a peek into 2024 for you. So everybody's going to get a little peek into 2024. What does it mean, and what do you need to look for 2024 for your sign, and the things that are going to come forward. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a reading for that, and pull some cards for you as well. So there's that package. It's 7 readings are left for $245. The other thing is that I'm doing the pub crawl at the end of the month. So if you're wanting to join me in the little pub crawl, the spooky pub crawl. And we also have the Vision Board virtual retreat is coming up October 21st and 22nd. So if you're interested in joining me with that as well, that's $130 for the weekend. Let's pull some cards. Did all my advertising. Not sure when to really do my videos, because it gets where sometimes a lot of people are getting the notifications, and then other times other people aren't getting the notifications. So I'm not sure what to do about that. So here we go. Oh, 10 of Pentacles reversed. So watch your money. Watch what you've created. Don't get stuck in the mind part. Don't get stuck in the ego with when it comes to what you are creating or the money that's coming in. Don't get hung up on all of that because that could actually deter you from really moving forward and then creating that prosperity that you want to create. 6 of Wands, because there will be time to celebrate. And I think people are feeling very down when it comes to their energies on how they want to step forward, how they want to be seen, how they, you know, it's the ego, right? It's a powerhouse. There's a powerhouse of energy that's coming in that you can get very stuck in at this time. Now, with the with this energy, this is where it's also to be focusing on um focus on the masterfulness of what of yourself of what you've created. This could be about devoting ourselves to inner work, mastery, emotional intimacy, and diving deeper. um and that's also to do with that sun, the Saturn trines with Vesta. So this is showing us, like, really don't, if all you're paying attention to is like, oh, I need to have this, I need to have this, I need to have this, and it's going to drive away what is truly there, what is truly, having to be worked on, and you're feeling beat up about the whole thing. So there's a lot of stress of feeling beat up. I'm not doing enough. I don't have enough. This isn't working for me. And all the crazy, I'm not this, I'm not that. So there's a lot of beating up of self with this energy. So it's like looking deeply and saying, you know what, I am enough, I am doing this, I am going to create. I don't need to worry about what Sally Jones is doing across the street, or Betty Lou, or whoever else. I don't have to worry about what they're doing. That's them, they can do their thing. I need to still focus on what I need to focus on. And I don't need to debate on it. I don't need to debate others on how I'm creating the life I want to create. I don't need to. I just need to go ahead and do it. And in doing that, I'm going to fine tune my skills. I'm going to be able to fine tune. I'm able to create things, and even more things and more will come in for you. But it's not getting hung up in that ego energy of saying this, I have to prove something to somebody, or I have to, fight for this. And it's like, no, you don't. Just walk away. Just say, thank you very much. Nice talking to you. I'm going to go have a coffee. And that's where the energies are at today, my loves. So if you're wanting to book a reading, definitely DM me or go to maryjunetracy.com. And I'm going to send you guys out so much love. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you, and all you say and all you be and all you do. Yeah. So have a blessed day, everybody. And we will talk to you soon. I might come on here later and see if there's even, try different times and stuff like that, because it just seems like sometimes I get a lot of people on here. Sometimes I get no people on here. Doesn't matter. I still talk. I still continue to talk. So sending you guys out so much. And thank you so much for being with me today, Kathy. Love you all. Blessings. And let's listen to the ducks again. Gotta listen to, how about Inner Space? Listen to this one. That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. So go to the inner space. Yeah. Have a blessed one.